10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, go.
The ski slopes of Jackson Hole, Wyoming are ranked among the finest in the world. These challenging mountains are the setting of the 13th Annual Handicap National Ski Championships. They are held here under the same conditions and requirements which challenge world-class teams. The athletes here have been training all year long for this competition. Hi, I'm Teddy Kennedy Jr. 10 years ago, when I lost my leg, I didn't think I'd ever be able to walk again, let alone ski. Then I met a group of courageous athletes who broke all those rules and showed me how wrong I was. Join me today as we meet some of those extraordinary world-class athletes. Athletes who say, if I can do this, I can do anything. Individuals who show all of us that any obstacle can be confronted and conquered. The Nationals are the major skiing event attracting teams from as far away as New Zealand. We are people from all nationalities and backgrounds, with a variety of physical conditions, yet sharing a common bond. We've taken what could have been a burden in our lives and turned it into a challenge. Each race is designed for people with similar abilities, and each event demands its own particular skill and daring. Each of us competes not only against others, but for ourselves. We are athletes first, disabled second. Whether you're new to skiing or a seasoned competitor, and no matter what your ability is, you can have the time of your life.
Great.
It's a fairly dangerous course. You go up, they say you hit speeds up to 50 miles an hour, so that's pretty fast.
The National Handicap Sports and Recreation Association is directed by activist Kirk Bauer.
We started the competition program basically as an extension of the rehabilitation process. If you have a disability, you need to learn to deal with challenge and change in your life. And the competition provides that challenge, and we thought it was very important. But these athletes now have taken this very seriously, and they have trained themselves, their bodies as well as their minds. There's no question about the fact that our athletes now are some of the best athletes in the world.
3, 2, 1.
For instance, in the downhill skiing event, they're reaching over 60 miles an hour. This year, for the first time in history, our World Games for the disabled were recognized by the International Olympic Committee. And the International Olympic Committee invited some of the top athletes from that event, top racers, to compete in a demonstration race in Sarajevo at the Winter Olympics. And again, this is the first time in history. So they are, finally realizing that these are true athletes, and they're realizing the caliber is reaching the point where they can actually compete in a race at the Olympics.
Greg Menino is my #1 rival. The top 3 winners overall will become members of the U.S. team representing America at the next World Games. Greg and I are competing for the 3rd spot on the team.
Huh?
Got it. I took it.
How'd you do? How'd you do?
No. I almost fell. Got
Yeah,
it.
but you held it, didn't you?
Yeah. I stayed in the course. Got low a couple times.
Proud of you, Greg.
People have already begun to redefine the term disabled. Moving this one step further is the cross-country run by my friend Jeff Keith.
I think that disabled people just sit at home or they're just participants, but we want to promote the idea that we're more than participants, that we're active and we're athletes and we excel. And perfect examples are right here with Teddy Kennedy Jr., Greg Menino, and Danny Poofpuff. These guys are amazing athletes on the slopes and off, and true competitors.
I have been racing these guys for the last 4 years. Last year, I started training seriously.
3, 2, 1, 100.
One of the things you have to be very conscious of, that if you're skiing on one leg, you have to be that much stronger on that leg. And so you've really got to get that leg in top shape. When you're running a 1.25 mile course at 60 miles an hour on one leg, you know it's got to be in shape. So it's just a very intense training. But as far as the regimes that they follow, the equipment and what have you, it's all very similar to the non-disabled world.
To get this far in the championships, you need good coaching.
A good athlete is one who's willing to train and puts a lot of time and hours into it and is willing to learn and apply things. The skier must know how the ski performs and what he has to do and what muscles have to do with communication between the two, making it work. All right, Teddy.
A hint of a
1/10,
second.
dude. You beat me by a 10th.
Doesn't come much closer than that.
Hey, I'll try. That's good.
No, the heat ski held well. It's kind of soft in the bottom. The sun has heated that up a little bit. The top is awful.
This has just been your best run ever. And your best time ever.
My third downhill, so
And a
all
lot
I
of
can do
practice
is
in
improve.
Without a doubt, Mark D'Amico has the potential to be one of America's top athletes in another 5 or 6 years.
The biggest thing about sports to me is keeping active, you know, achieving newer goals and overcoming my disability, which is not a disability no longer. It's just another thing, you know. You know, it doesn't affect me anymore. I can do anything that I put my mind to. It's all in your mind. What you limit yourself.
I hate to use that term, even disabled. I prefer the term physically challenged, because what you've seen here all week are not people that you could call handicapped. They possess physical challenges which they've overcome here on the mountain and just in everyday life.
The ski really turned well, though.
Yeah, did you feel how it
Did
was?
everything it was supposed to do.
All right. Well, you came top 5.
That's great.
Teddy, just think about 2 years ago and the comparison. I mean, we're just...
It's true.
These old men, they ain't got long for racing. They're still hot, but they're still hot. Things around. There's no question. They may be old, but they're still ripping them up.
Hey, J-Mo.
Sports was probably the single most important thing in my recovery from losing a leg to bone cancer than probably anything else. After I had my leg amputated when I was 12, we always used to play touch football every Saturday afternoons. And my father would throw the football at me just as hard as he would anybody else. My cousins would tackle me just as hard as they would anybody else, never letting me feel like I was any different and always treating me as a competitor.
He's cooking me so far in the last 2 races.
Take your thing off.
I'm just an also-ran here today. Okay, congratulations. This is an extraordinarily exciting program. I think anybody who not only participates, but certainly anybody who sees all of these young people and old people alike involved in the handicap skiers race has to be inspired. This has been a magnificent sight. Here, this program is growing. There are now regionals all over America for handicapped skiers. I'm, of course, so proud of my son, Teddy. I find that he's skiing faster and faster and has to wait for me longer and longer at the bottom of the mountain, so I'm delighted to be out here.
Off the top section, you guys skated pretty well.
That's
Pretty
right.
much you lost your time on the bottom section of the course.
Yeah,
and
I
Teddy
felt I
gained
did.
his time on the bottom section of the course.
I felt that.
Overall, though, I think you guys should both be proud of your skiing today. You're giving the U.S. team a good threat.
Yeah, that's what we want to do.
Great. When I go and talk with a person who's just suffered a disability, the thing which I express is that things are going to be tough before they get better. You're going to fall down a lot. You're going to, you're going to cry a lot, and you're going to pass through a lot of bad times. But the fact of the matter is that life is so worth living, and that through partaking in sports like this and engaging yourself, not feeling sorry for yourself, realizing that when I first lost my leg to cancer, I thought it was the worst thing in the world. I went back for chemotherapy every 3 weeks, and there were some kids that stayed there the entire time. receiving drugs. And so I actually felt lucky, the fact that I was indeed so healthy.
I was a model working in New York when I found out that my right leg was very ill, and I came back home to Atlanta, Georgia, with a tumor, and I didn't realize at the time that meant, cancer, and that cancer meant chemotherapy, and that chemotherapy meant losing all of your hair. And in my business, where an absolute perfect body, and of course 2 legs, needless to say, is a prerequisite, everyone thought, well, gosh, Ivy is certainly out of the business. And unfortunately, I'm a real stubborn rascal, and I refused to give up, and modeled all during the time, not only after I lost my leg, but also during being bald and wearing a wig, whatever the client would require. And I've been in this business for a real, real long time. So I found out at that point there was really more to life than just returning to modeling, because that was the easy part. I've been doing that for a real long time. So a friend of mine called me and dared me to go skiing. And he was a part of a group called the National Handicap Sports and Recreation Association. And I thought, well, all right, why not? And I had been a competitive tennis player before. And I thought, well, all right, let's try something new. And went out on the slope, and after falling down for 2 days, realized that this probably was not my cup of tea at all. And here I am, 2 years later, into some seasons, and have brought home some medals from regional races or NASTAR races. And this group provides ego building, it's confidence building, because you have all your peers at the bottom of the slope, and they're going, all right, yeah, that's really terrific. It doesn't make a difference if you fall down or not. It's just that you're out there trying, and you're doing it, and you're making it work. And it feels really terrific.
One of the exciting things, particularly about skiing and about a lot of other sports, is that it is not just available to the guy who wants to be a serious competitor. Just about anyone can take part in these activities, no matter what your disability. You may have to make some adjustments. You may have to use some adaptive equipment, some special equipment, but you can do it, and you can enjoy it. And that's really the exciting thing about skiing and other sports.
One piece of special equipment is the outrigger.
You can flip it up, pull with the rope, and you can walk on it as a crutch. When you go to ski, you pull the rope, lean forward, goes down, and it engages. On the back are little teeth that we consider like claws or brakes. As you're going along, they'll dig into the snow. They'll slow you down. It's very similar to snow plowing for an able-bodied skier. You could stick them up out like that, and it would slow you to a certain point. You're actually not supposed to be on these things. You ought to keep them down by the side, similar to training wheels on a bicycle. You touch them to one side or the other as you lose your balance or to regain balance. But in a critical race and so forth, when you do lose your balance, an able-bodied skier would be able to shift his weight to the other ski, whereas if you were using poles and on one ski, you'd just go down. So when it comes down to the big competition, you do have outriggers. You just don't touch them down very often.
98, 10 seconds. 3,
At 58, Dick Martin, the Silver Fox, and others like him have had the greatest influence on the new skier.
I lost my leg in 1958. Shortly after that, I started the first ski school for amputees in Portland, Oregon. Some of them feel really down when something like this happens. And gee, when they can come and compete and do well, and actually, when they can come here and see two-legged skiers that they can just walk all over them, that makes them feel good.
From my own case, I was dragged out of the hospital by these veterans, and I had a very negative kind of view of myself, very poor self-image, if you will. I was thinking about all the things I could no longer do, but was not concentrating on what was still possible, all the possibilities that were still there. And what the beauty about this program for me and for a lot of other people is that it broke that negative cycle of thinking, and it started us thinking about our possibilities and what we could do. And it really was a turn-on for me, and it's been that way for a lot of other people.
Once you begin to feel more confident in sports, you're ready to accept some of life's other challenges, and you find that there's no limit to what you can do. Listen to Chad Colley, head of the Disabled American Veterans.
I had a friend that encouraged me to get involved in it, but wheelchairs just don't go in snow. And I just thought it would be miserable, that I wasn't any way that I could do it. And then once we got up on the mountain, it's just beautiful.
Woo! Top of the world. All right.
With a little bit of training, aside from getting on and off the lifts and needing assistance there, once you're on the mountain, you can pretty well go your own way. It's just marvelous. And it's really inspiring to be around other disabled people to see just what these guys and gals can do. I mean, it's really something. There's a lot of people out there that were just like I was a year ago, said there's no way I can do it, I don't want to be involved in it, but it's a tremendous thing, and once they get exposed to it, then they're hooked.
75 is in the gate. 10 seconds.
In order to steer this sled, you sometimes use body weight, and the other time you drag a pole to create the drag and make the sled turn. And of course, with me, I can't hold a pole in this side, so I just put this thing together to kind of match it. So when I drag in the snow, I turn.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Beautiful.
Combination of the edge control underneath the sled is kind of a pontoon type situation, and your arms out and your weight and balance, and we're belted into these things, and so with the neoprene cover and with I'm using a kidney belt myself, and hey, it's just like a ski boot. And what I do is I think this direction it goes. It's very direct in terms of response.
It sounds like it'd be a lot of fun to ride.
Oh, yeah, that's the name of the game. We wouldn't be out here unless we're looking for that proverbial too much fun.
I think sports are important in everyone's life, just the simple exhilaration of moving your body and staying in shape. For a disabled person, I think it's an added exhilaration, because the fact of the matter is we live in a slow motion world. Some of us have artificial limbs, some of us have braces, and I think to be able to snap on a ski, for instance, and go down the mountain, we're like everybody else.
The opportunity is there for everyone to get involved with sports. I've found that there's a world of difference in attitude between the kids that get involved and those who haven't had the chance. I've met some kids who've never thrown a ball, and that's a whole part of life they're missing. You have to have the feeling that you can do something by yourself, and a whole part of growing up is falling down and skinning your knees and getting back up again. You're gonna hurt yourself from time to time. I just hope I don't break my leg.
we're trying to do here is I've torn my ligament in my thumb there yesterday, skiing into trees. And what I'm trying, it's very, very sore and very swollen now, and I want to be able to race in tomorrow's race. So we're trying to, the doctor here and I are trying to find a way that we can jerry-rig it to my outrigger that I'm going to have to use tomorrow. And hopefully it won't be too sore.
Not too much pressure on it, Teddy.
I think by tomorrow I'll be okay.
So the odds on the race haven't changed?
I don't think so. I think I'll do just as well.
Ski racing is just another challenge for the blind. Gold medalist Vivian Martin from New Zealand is one of the best blind skiers in the world.
I'm partially sighted, which means that I'm not totally blind, but I also don't have full vision. I can see, when I'm racing, I could see one gate ahead. So when I'm skiing, I need someone to ski in front of me.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I always race with a guide, and he calls instructions to me as we go through the gate. He can kind of go a gate ahead, but it does make me really unconfident and slow up a bit, because we try to keep a good line straight head onto the gates, and if he gets too far ahead, I'm likely to bang into the gate and knock myself over or something.
For some of the new skiers, it's learning to have confidence in a guide. It is working out with others that builds confidence and trust, and that's important. Trust is not only important for blind skiers, it's important for everyone.
I've heard the thing so often said by people who are racers, they took the gate too low. They turned too low.
That's right.
Does that mean they were actually below the gate, or they should have they should have turned way up high?
Think of a snake, all right? A snake coming down. Think of a zigzag. All right?
Yeah.
When people turn low, they're like zigzag. It's like, whoa! I'm at the gate and then I'm turning.
And then they're turning, yeah.
Okay? You want the straightest line down. It's more like a smooth, curving snake coming down. Oh,
Okay.
baby. But you don't want a zigzag. And that's what I mean. When they turn low, it means you're at the gate. Oh, I think I'll turn.
Okay, well, I can turn up high, but what I'm doing is I'm coming way out. And then
It's okay.
turning.
It's okay in the beginning. And now, as you refine your racing technique and your gate running technique, you'll pull that nice, smooth line in. All right?
Okay, so go ahead and make the turn up high, like as close after you got through the last gate as you can.
You're outside of a gate. You're immediately set up for the next gate.
Okay, it's a little hard to understand exactly how to do it, but I suppose it's because I'm not ready to go that fast.
You got to do it a fair amount before any of the words make sense. I think you're right.
For the giant slalom, we start early in the morning when the track is hard and fast.
Well, I just stretched it on over there this morning. You got it, made it over the cast here. And I had the chance to slip the course a couple times. I think it'll be okay. Once you're out of the gate, you don't think of anything else.
Run,
Yeah.
Dad. She's getting her ski sideways.
Yeah, she bows at the waist and then twists it sideways.
That's Teddy, I guess.
Danny Puffpuff proved once again that he's a winner. He took the combined title in the division with his first place in the slalom, second in the giant slalom, and second in the downhill.
I got you that time.
There you go, Danny. Nice run.
That's more like it, huh?
Lot
Why
more like
didn't I do that first one? You like dog shit.
Thinking about it.
Second run felt a lot better.
Good speed off that drop. I came down. I couldn't get in my ear that time.
I almost missed that gate. You know the gate that you didn't have to turn for up on top?
You almost turned?
No, I almost missed the whole thing altogether.
Greg and I gave it 110%. He ended up nudging me out for third, and I came in fourth. Before this year, I was a participant. Now I see myself as a true competitor. And boy, does that feel good.
We do know something of the loss of body image that goes along with the loss of a limb. And that loss of body image needs to be replaced by something else. And achievement in the sport certainly is something else.
I had spent tremendous amounts of energy trying to mainstream myself, to not really deal with the fact that I was physically imperfect. I wanted to believe that I could do anything I wanted to do. And that's a great attitude, I don't knock that. But there's a point at which you have to say, yeah, but I am missing a leg, and that's okay. And that's what skiing did for me. It was the first time I was ever comfortable being seen without my artificial limb. In the company of close friends, that was okay, but not in the general public. I was embarrassed to be seen without all my body parts. Women are expected to be feminine, graceful, attractive. For some women, it might be more of a difficult thing to deal with for that reason, that there's not only a loss of a body part, but a loss of what is something that society expects you to have. Graceful movement, attractive limbs, that sort of thing. I found as a mother that I had no one to ask a question of, what do you do when you're pregnant? Well, what about this 20 pounds that's out in front that didn't used to be there? What about the fact that not only do your ankles swell at night, but so does your stump, and your leg doesn't fit in the morning? And I had no one to ask questions of like that, and I just wanted to say that there are many times that young women younger than myself have asked me, what did you do? How did it happen? What worked? I never knew anyone who was an amputee and also a mother. And, you know, it happens. It works.
It's true about everything in life, that if you can do one thing well, suddenly the other problems that beset you don't seem to matter so much. If you can ski down the hill without falling, suddenly problems with your job or whatever problems you do have just don't seem to matter quite as much.
You got bib number 100.
The awareness level, both by the general public and by disabled people themselves, is growing tremendously. They no longer can use the excuse that I have a disability not to get involved, because they see these people doing these active sports and they realize that they can do them, and they should. We think it's an important part of an active life and a full life.
I think we leave this event recommitted to ensuring that we're going to open that opportunity to as many individuals who are challenged, physically challenged, as we possibly can. Most of all, I'm just glad to be here, like so many of you, as a parent. Thank you very much.
First, we have dreams. And with hard work and with belief in ourselves, we can achieve those dreams, no matter how many times we may fail. In a world where more and more people are saying, I can't, the physically challenged are saying, I'll try. Because we know if we can do this, we can do anything.